What's going on, everybody? You're now officially kicking it with RJ. I want you guys to kick up this week, kick off your shoes, get something to eat, get something to drink. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little different, a tier list. Now, I've had this thought in my mind doing tier lists for the channel ever since I started the channel, but I never really had a good idea on how to start it. Now, I could have gone like the usual way, like ranking every GTA or ranking, every character, whatever, but I mean, I'll do those in the future, but I just wanted to start with something a little different that hasn't really been done before. I'm going to be ranking every single heist in the GTA series, starting from GTA 3 all the way up to GTA Online. This is like over 20 years worth of GTA heists. And before we really get into it, I want you guys to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, helps drag them. Anyways, let's get right into it. Alright, the first heist, GTA 3, the Getaway. Now, there are no setups for this one. This is technically the first heist pulled by a protagonist in GTA, even if we don't go in the bank itself. Joey Leone has one last mission for Claude to drive Getaway for a bank job. Claude then gets Joey's crew in St. Mark's, and from there they go to the Bank of Liberty in Chinatown, where the robbery quickly goes south, alarms blare, gunshots ring out, and the crew rushes back to the car. The premise is simple: lose the cops, and then get the crew back to their hideout. The payout? 10 grand per surviving robber, up to 30,000 if the whole team makes it out alive. Now, where I'm going to rank this, honestly, I'd rank this in C tier. Why not, any other tier? It's not the best heist, but it's not the worst. We don't really do much, but the payout's decent. Alright, next, GTA Vice City, the job. Now, there are a few setups for this heist. First, we break out Cam Jones, a safecracker from jail. The mission is pretty interesting, where we dress up as a cop and open jail cells, evade the police, and then take Cam back to his shop. Then, we get Phil Cassidy, where we just have to beat his score at the ammunition shooting range. And then after Phil, the last member we need is Hillary King, where we have to beat him in a race to get him on the team. Now, the heist itself is pretty simple, on paper at least. Tommy drives to the bank, instructs Hillary to drive around while Tommy, Phil, and Cam perform the heist. Phil is on hostage control, Cam is on cracking the safe, and Tommy is assisting where he can, getting the bank manager and checking on Phil. The police then raid the bank, when the alarm is tripped. The trio escapes, and then Hillary is then killed. Cam also could be killed. After Tommy loses the police, they go back to Cam's and celebrate. The payout could be a bit better, but 50,000 is pretty good. But for how difficult this heist can be, I think 100,000 would have sufficed more. Now, I would rank this one tier B. Now, why not A or even S? The setup missions and useless characters. Now, Hillary is a driver, but we drive to and from the bank. And then once he could actually be useful, he dies. And then, honestly, even Cam. He was hired to be a safecracker, but he couldn't even crack the safe. He needed the manager to crack the safe with him, or even for him. I'm not really sure how that went. While Cam is somewhat useful, this job honestly could have been done with just Tommy, Phil, and Cam, or even just Tommy and Phil. While the payout is decent, it's not really enough for how difficult this heist can be. Alright, next, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, breaking the bank at Caligula's. Now, there are a few things that have to be done for this heist to start. These setups mainly focus on the setups themselves rather than the people behind the heist. That is more done in the beginning cutscenes of each mission when people just start to show up. It's actually pretty funny when they have like a whole line of people that somehow find out about the planning portion. Anyways, the setups focus more on getting the things for the heist, like the plans for Caligula's casino, hooking up with Millie Perkins for a key card, getting explosives, setting the explosives at the power plant, getting police bikes, and getting the armored van. The setups really aren't that hard, even though some missions can vary, like the armored van one. The heist itself is well done. You pose as a courier for Caligula's casino and get in using Millie's keycard. Once Carl has Zero activate the charges at the dam, using night vision goggles, Carl makes his way to the garage and lets the triads in. He then leads them towards a safe and blows the backup generators to keep them in the dark. Once they have the money, Carl acts as a decoy and shoots his way up to the roof. Carl then jumps off the roof while losing the cops and makes his way to his airfield in Verdant Meadows and punches Zero for telling Berkeley about the heist, which is pretty funny. Now, the payout really isn't too bad. It's $100,000. Now, I do believe for all the setups and even the heist itself that's pretty lengthy, I think like maybe 100,000 or even 50,000 more would be better, but it really isn't bad. This one, honestly, to me, I put this in tier A. Now, why not S tier? I say while the heist is good, it doesn't really stick out as like memorable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's just something about it. whenever I think of GTA Heist, I think of like other heists on this list, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But like, I mean, yeah, we do rob the casino, but I feel like CJ didn't really do anything other than point and shoot while the others took the money and left. But the setups and the heist itself are pretty strong and not too difficult. It's a great heist, but it doesn't really stick out compared to others in my opinion. Next, Grand Theft Auto 4 3 Leaf Clover. This is one of the few heists in the GTA series that doesn't have like any setups. Nico is just told to wear a suit since all the participants in prep work, including Derek in the C4, PE4, was done before Nico was really involved in McCreary's. Now the heist itself is pretty self-explanatory. Nico goes in, Packy and Michael control the crowd, Derek and Packy argue, like always, while Nico takes care of the employees and Derek blows a vault. Things go south as soon as Eugene Reaper plays hero and shoots Michael, killing him. He dies as the vault blows and Nico gets the money. The trio then shoots their way through hordes of police, all to end up at the subway terminal. They then make their way up, find a car, lose the police, and then go back home. The payout, honestly, is one of the best we've gotten so far in this series, with $250,000. Now, where do I rank this? Me personally, I rank this heist S tier, 100%. Now, this is S tier simply because just the banter between the McCrearys is always gold. The heist cutscene was well done, and just the right amount of things that could go wrong went wrong. The heat-style shootout with the police and the pay being as good as it is, just all in all, a great heist and fun, memorable mission altogether. Yes, there are no setups, but to be truly honest, a heist like this works better without the setups, while it dives right into the mission. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars Dragon Hall Z. This heist doesn't require any setups. You actually don't even step into the bank. Huang is more on the getaway portion of the heist. Now Zhao Ming plans a heist with his gang and needs a dragon outfit for the getaway. Huang damages a truck that has the outfit to receive it and takes it near the bank for the gang. After practicing a bit, Huang and the gang take it to the streets, where they make their getaway and distracting civilians and police from who they are and what they just pulled. After this, the gang splits up and Zhao thanks Huang for the help. Now the payout, this is probably the worst payout in the entire GTA series, at $1,000. Yes, Huang didn't do anything in the heist, but he still helped with the getaway. I mean, $1,000 for helping the gang get away is ridiculous and just shows what little respect Zhao has for Huang. Now where do I rank this? I actually had to make a tier for this because of just how bad it was. This is going as you guys probably know. F tier. This heist is not memorable. The payout sucks and there's nothing to it. Huang just dances in the street. No shootout, no big robbery, just a show in the street. Alright, next we're going to talk about GTA 5, the GTA game with the most heists in it. First, we gotta start it off with the prologue, the Bobcat security heist. Now I wasn't really sure if I was going to include this here, but since this heist really started everything in GTA 5 story and it technically is a heist, I figured it'd be perfect to talk about it. So anyways, we start right in the middle of this heist. This heist was planned and done by Michael, Trevor, Brad, and the local Yoko. Now this heist, how it was started is very unknown. They likely stormed the place and shot anyone who tried to stop them. They then took hostages, blew the vault, and took around $180,000. After this, Michael is then taken hostage by Jasper the security guard, while Trevor disposes of him quickly. They then make their way through hordes of police to get to their getaway car. Things go wrong quickly when the local Yoko buys it and Michael then has to drive. They get to where the helicopter is supposed to be, but Brad and Michael then get shot, all while Trevor takes cover. As Brad and Michael quote unquote bleed out, Trevor stands his ground and moves as the police get way too heavy for him. Then taking a hostage, Trevor then frees the hostage and runs into the snowy landscape, thus ending the heist that went very wrong. Now, there is no payout for this heist, due to it taking 9 years before the events of GTA 5 story. But if there was one, I believe it would have been around like 50,000, 45,000, considering what they take was like 180. Now, where do I rank this? Honestly, I rank this in C tier. Now, why not any higher? I mean, nothing was really made money-wise, but it's still a memorable way to start a game and a very memorable heist. And it kicked off the story events, so it's still high up on my list. Okay, so next, the jewel store heist. There are two methods in doing this heist, loud and smart. Now while the getaway is similar overall, the way this heist is done differs. Depending on the approach, the setups differ. From the loud approach, you need to hijack a SWAT van full of carbines, which gets the cops involved, and takes a bit to get them off depending on the player. The setups for the smart approach are my favorite to be truly honest, including getting the Buckster's van and getting the Goodnight gas. These are fairly simple if with the Bugster's van, if it's done very stealthily, and in the Goodnight gas, just take it from the van rather than taking the van. The heist itself starts at the garment factory, where they all go to the jewel store. Now, like I said, each approach is different. Where the smart approach, Franklin goes to the rooftop from casing the jewel store, and then once everyone is knocked out from the gas, Michael and his crew steal the jewels. And in the Loud approach, Franklin has to drive the crew to Vangelico, and Michael goes in and does his thing, steals the jewels, and Franklin takes care of the getaway, like the other one. Like I said, the getaway is simple. If you have a bad driver, good gunman, and bad hacker, no one dies, and they make their way through the sewer system, battling all cops in their way, and get to their rendezvous. Now, the payout, I believe the smart approach gains the most amount of money, with Michael gaining $1,223,073, and Franklin grabs $293,539. Now, the Lot approach gets a little less, at least for Michael. Michael takes home $1,076,304, while Franklin takes home the same amount. Now, these are going to be ranked a little differently. For the Loud approach, I'd say it is definitely in Tier A. It's a fun and memorable heist, but the setups are not really great. They're not as fun as the Smart approach in my opinion, and it doesn't pay as much as the Smart approach, and it doesn't really feel like the right approach, in my opinion, to this heist. Now, you probably know where I'm going to put the Smart approach. Yes, Tier S. It just feels right, pays more, and the setups are fun and more of an interesting way to do this heist all around. Alright, next, the Merryweather heist. Now this heist, there are two methods to do it. One is the freighter at the ports, and the other one is offshore at a Merryweather testing site. The setups differ depending on the method. The freighter requires just a submarine, while the offshore needs a cargo bob along with the submarine. The cargo bob is taken from Fort Zancudo, and the submarine is taken from a ship on the ports. There's really nothing substantial about either setup, and the submarine setup honestly is probably my least liked setup of the entire series, just because you just take it and drive a long distance. That's it. In a freighter approach, Trevor, Michael, and Franklin meet at Floyd's apartment to plan the heist. Trevor then drives Franklin to the Miriam Turner overpass, where Franklin takes positions as a sniper. At dusk, Michael approaches a freighter in a dinghy, sneaks around board, and plants explosive while Franklin covers him. When Michael is then spotted, Franklin takes out any guard and a helicopter before Michael escapes. Michael then detonates the bomb, sinking the freighter, and then dives to retrieve the target device. Trevor then picks the device up with a submarine, and Floyd then hauls it ashore with a crane. Chester then arrives, warning the device is a dangerous superweapon and it has to be returned. Michael then agrees, pissing off Trevor while Franklin and Michael leave, Trevor fuming on the docks. The offshore method starts in a similar way, but the rest is different. Trevor, Michael, and Franklin head to East Sandy Shores airfield, where Trevor boards his submarine, like usual, and Michael uses a cargo bob to fly it out to the Merryweather testing site. Trevor then locates the device underwater, and Michael lifts his sub back up with it. While on the return flight, they are attacked by Merryweather boats and helicopters, which Franklin fights off with a combat MG. Back at the airfield, Lester then arrives and warns the device is a dangerous superweapon, much like the freighter approach, and must be returned. Michael again agrees to find Trevor another job, leaving Trevor still furious as Lester takes the device away. There is no payout for this due to the superweapon being dropped back at the site. Now, these are ranked very differently. I would say the freighter approach, I'd say that's a B tier heist. I have a bit of a soft spot for this approach. It's the most fun approach, and I always love the stealth and sniper part of the heist. But no payout for all that work definitely makes it more of a B tier than an A or S tier. And the offshore, in my opinion, this might piss some people off. But this is a D tier heist. Now, it's a decent heist, but it's not really memorable. There's more setups, no pay, and just using the combat MG to me personally is less fun than stealth and sniping. And you don't get to blow up the freighter, which is probably the best part of the heist overall. Next, Blitz play. Now this isn't really a typical heist, but it's a heist nonetheless. This takes a lot from the first robbery in the movie Heat. The setups are very simple. Masks and boiler suits are needed and can be bought. The trash truck and tow truck need to be stolen. I recommend Franklin for this because of his special ability. And a getaway vehicle is needed, and really any car can be used. So anyways, in the heist, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin set up an ambush on an armored truck. Trevor spots it, Michael blocks the road with a garbage truck, and Franklin rams it with a tow truck. They blow the doors, grab the bonds, and fight through waves of cops. Noose units, snipers, and helicopters so they can escape. After the police response dies down, Franklin then takes the garbage truck to destroy it, to cover their tracks, while Michael delivers the bonds and meets billionaire Devin Weston, who then recruits the crew for future jobs and tempts Michael with a Hollywood connection to Solomon Richards. The payout? There really is no payout since this is an FBI started heist and not really conventional GTA 5 heist compared to the others in the game. Now me, I rank this one in B tier. I'd say a little bit of right there. Just because I really do like the way they took Heat's first heist and ran with it. Just a really cool reference all around. And just the swarms of police is really fun to deal with. And the setups were super simple and just a very memorable heist slash mission in GTA 5. Next, the Paleto score. This heist is an only one-way approach, and the only setup mission is where Michael or Trevor have to steal military hardware. The heist starts where the crew has to drive to Paleto Bay. They then storm the bank while Trevor sets off the alarm and Michael and the gunman crack the vault. They steal over $8 million. Surrounded by the police, the trio emerge in heavy armor and they fight through waves of police, nukes, and even the military with tanks. Franklin has to improvise a getaway using a dozer while scooping Michael and Trevor up to safety before they escape by train. At Sandy Shores, once they get there, Agent Sanchez seizes most of the take, leaving each protagonist with only part of it. The payout for each protagonist is $464,395, where the FIB takes most of the take for the raid of the Humane Labs. This, to me personally, this is definitely an S tier heist. This heist was very well done, the execution was perfect, the conversation on the way to the bank is just gold. The confrontation with the police after the bank is just gold. The whole heist is just one big shootout and I was there for it. One of the best heists in GTA I've ever played. Next, the Bureau Raid. There are two ways to go at this heist, the Fireway and the Roofway. I really like both of these. The Fireway has two setups, we have to get a fire truck and a getaway vehicle, while the Roof Approach has none. These both have just one setup, but for both of them, you have to get an architect plans. But that's it, nothing really else. The fire approach has Michael infiltrating the FIB building disguised as a janitor, planting bombs while mopping floors before leaving. He later detonates the charges, and Franklin and Michael and the crew arrive disguised as firefighters in a fire truck. Inside the burning building, they push through collapsing floors, explosions, and potential crew casualties depending on skill level, before blowing into the server room and stealing the hard drive. Franklin rappels down the elevator shaft while fighting off FIB agents and escaping with the crew. They then ditch the fire truck, regroup at Lester's house, and celebrate while Michael slips out after a brief drink. The Roof Approach has Michael and Franklin meet up with the crew at the news building. Michael then pilots to the jump zone. They then parachute off onto the FIB roof. Michael then cuts a glass panel so the team can enter. They then blow the server room door, connecting their cell phone to the hard drive. The hacking sequence must complete while the crew holds off a security team. During the escape, a buzzer destroys the chopper and the smoke bomb teams attack. Michael, Franklin, and their gunmen hold off FIB security in the meantime. After the download finishes, they fight through FIB agents through the collapsing floors and sprinklers. They then rappel down the building and deal with a second buzzard, and then rappel again to reach the ground. The getaway depends on your driver. If he's experienced or she's experienced, you come for a clean escape, while an inexperienced driver comes in late and you have to fight off a heavy wanted level. The crew then regroups at Franklin's house. The driver then drops off the gunman after and disposes of the vehicle their own way, so you don't have to do any of that. And the mission ends with a debrief at Franklin's house, while Michael then again slips out after a brief drink. The payout are kind of different depending on each approach, where Michael doesn't have any cut, but Franklin makes in the fire approach $222,428, while in the roof approach, Franklin makes $242,349. So about a about a $20,000 difference. Now me personally, these both go in tier A. While the roof one has a bit of an edge on me personally, I really like doing these heists, and they both rank similarly because they're both really good as a whole. But why not S tier? They're simply good, but they're not that good. They aren't as memorable as like the Jewel Store Job or the Paleto score to me personally. Next, the big score, the big one. There are two ways to go at the score, subtle and obvious. These are very different from one another, from the setups, the heist itself, and the payout. The setups for the subtle approach prep including stealing a police van with spike strips, securing 3 modified gauntlets around Los Santos, and the setups for the obvious approach, the crew must steal a cutter, hijack a train with a skylift, and set up a getaway car near their Union depository. In the subtle approach, the crew then sets up spike strips in a tunnel, hijacking 2 Group 6 vans and one of the guards named Casey to access the Union depository and load up the gold. As Trevor and Casey move the carts, Franklin remotely controls traffic lights to block Merryweather pursuit. Though hacker skill affects how smooth this goes, the gold is then transferred into gauntlets, Casey is then bribed by the bar to stay quiet, and Merryweather attacks, sparking a massive firefight where poor crew choices can cost millions. Franklin then leads the convoy through the city, saving drivers if needed before linking up with waiting trailers to escape. Back at Michael's house, despite the huge score, the three break into a huge heated argument, straining their partnership. In the obvious approach, Michael and a gunman storm the front while Franklin drills into the vault with a cutter, blasting the doors and pushing carts of gold under heavy noose assault. Trevor then airlifts the haul north by helicopter with the other driver, while Michael and Franklin battle through waves of cops, buzzards, and news teams through streets into a getaway car. After losing their 5-star wanted level, Trevor faces Merryweather gunships, holding steady while Lester can shoot them down before securing the gold onto the train. Finally, the group regroups at Mackenzie Airfield, celebrating their success, though Michael dampens the mood, warning everybody to stay low until the gold is moved. The payouts are substantially different from one another, with the obvious approach with the proper crew netting about $4,664,000, with the subtle approach netting $35,563,000, so a pretty big difference between the two. Now, I'm probably going to catch a lot of shit for this, but these heists go in tier A. Now, why not S? I think they're a little over the top, in my opinion. You know, like, don't get me wrong, they're good heists, and the payouts are really good, like the best in the series. But compared to the other ones, like 3-Leaf Clover, Paleto Score, and some other ones I have in the future, they don't hit like some of those ones, if you know what I mean. Alright, now we're getting into GTA Online territory, starting off with the Fleeca Heist, the first of many GTA Online heists. The Fleeca Heist is a pretty simple heist. The setups begin with a stakeout of the Fleeca Bank, while Lester hacks their cameras, followed by a hacking practice minigame that assigns one player as a driller. Next, the crew steals an armored Kuruma from a Korean gang and stashes it away for a getaway. In the finale, the driver intimidates hostage while the driller hacks and drills into the vault's deposit box. Once the job is done, they escape in a Kuruma under police pursuit until a cargo bob lifts the car to safety, then completing the heist. Now, these payouts, I'm not going to be doing like one player gets 75% and the other one gets 25%. Every heist I'm going to be talking about is a half-to-half split. 50-50, 25-25, 25-25, anything like that. I'm not going to be doing like, this person gets most. No, I'm not going to be doing it like that. This is like kind of keeping it fair. But anyways, on the hard payout, with the updated payouts, the payouts are $1,025 and $125. Kind of funny per player. And these are, like I said, increased. Now, where does a Fleeca Job go, in my opinion? I believe it's a definite B tier heist. I'd probably put it above Blitz Play, just because I really do enjoy this heist. It's new, it's different, you haven't really seen anything like that before, but it's not memorable. I mean, other than the fact that it's a first heist GTA Online, really isn't really much else to it. The Prison Break, the second and most talked about GTA Online heist, but not for a good reason. In the Prison Break heist, the crew preps with 4 missions: stealing a Velen plane from the Vagos, hijacking a prison bus, and then one mission, one team infiltrates the Mission Road Police Department to grab a transport schedule, and the other team recovers Rechkovsky's Casco from the docks. And then the last mission includes finally eliminating his lawyers and business partner. In the finale, the inmate and guard storm Bolingbroke to extract Rechkovsky, while the demolition team destroys a real bus and covers the escape in a buzzard, while the pilot flies a Velum through enemy jets to collect everybody. The heist ends with the crew landing safely at a drop zone, with Rechkovsky taking a plane, free man at last. The payout on hard is $218,750, so it's not really a bad take. Now, this heist, in my opinion, this goes in C tier. I'm in C tier. I'm gonna move Prologue up a little bit. This is a C tier heist. Now, I feel like what brings it down is the essential 4-player heist is really unneeded here. Like the demolition and pilot really could have been one person. And the prison guard and prisoner could have been just the guard. And this heist is really only popular because of people not getting other people to join constantly. Like randoms messing up and all that stuff. It's pretty bad when it comes to that. But other than that, it's not really too memorable other than going into the prison itself. Alright, next, the Humane Labs raid. The third and kind of more forgotten heist. In the Humane Labs raid, the setups involve grabbing key codes, stealing insurgents, securing an EMP from a Hydra on a carrier, taking a Valkyrie chopper, and covertly delivering EMP to the Humane Labs. In the finale, 2 players infiltrate the facility to recover data, while the other 2 provide air support in a Valkyrie, clearing hostiles and covering extraction. The payout on hard is $295,312, a bit better than the Prison Break, I will say. Now this one, again, this one's going in tier C. I'd put it probably above the Prison Break. This doesn't really stand out to me, it's done well, but the setups kind of bring it down. Some of them are pretty unreasonable, like deliver EMP. That's probably the worst one to do with randoms. This one I recommend getting people you know and communicate with to do. Other than that, this doesn't really stand out like some of the other GTA Online heists do. And next, Series A funding. Now this fourth heist is one of my favorites. In this heist, we pretty much helped Trevor kickstart Trevor Phillips Industries further than he already had it. The setups include raiding a yacht for coke, running a trash route to collect Molly while fighting Vagos, stealing vans from the Lost MC, hijacking weed trucks from the Ballas, and stealing a meth tanker from the O'Neills. In the finale, the crew defends a warehouse from waves of gangs attacks, delivering the stash to the lighthouse. Deal ends up being a setup from the DOA, and Trevor flees with his Infinite Rage statue. Kind of a good callback to GTA 5 story. The payout on hard is a little less than I thought it would be. It's $220,937. A little better than the Prison Break though, I will say. Now, I'm a bit biased, but to me, this is an A tier heist. Like I said, I'm a bit biased, but I love this heist. Trevor coming back, dealing with the various gangs of San Andreas, to me, it's just an all fun heist all around. But it's not an S tier for a couple reasons. Like the Prison Break, the setups and heist itself could have really been done with 2 players, not 4. And the payout, for this being the 4th heist, it could have been a bit better. In the last original batch of GTA Online heists, the Pacific Standard Heist. This last heist is the most heist-like heist in GTA Online in my opinion. If you have the right crew, it's the best one to do. The setups involve stealing bikes, stealing thermal charges, a jammer van, and getaway cars. In the heist itself, the crew robs a Pacific Standard, drills a vault, and fights through cops before escaping on the bikes to a canyon. Now, I will say, you don't have to use the bikes. I never use the bikes. I think those are a waste of time. Just get in one car and just drive. It's a less of a pain in the ass, in my opinion. Once he gets to the canyon, a boat extracts him, mission done. It's a pretty simple, cut and dry heist, but it can be a little hard. Now the payout on hard, the payout is $468,750. The best of all the original GTA Online heists. Now you guys probably know where I'm going to put this. This is definitely an S tier heist. I'd probably put it above the Paleto score, to be truly honest. I mean, yeah, it's memorable, super memorable. With a crew, this is a great, fun, and memorable mission. I always enjoy this heist with friends, and it just feels like a full-on bank heist from a movie. Just easily one of the best ones they've come from GTA Online. Now we're getting to Doomsday territory. Doomsday Act 1, the Data Breaches. Act 1 begins with prep work in free mode, stealing paramedic uniforms, 4 Deluxos from a guarded mansion, and a Kula helicopter from Fort Zancudo. These setups include infiltrating the morgue to recover data, using Deluxos to hack vans, boats, and a plane, and sneaking into a new server farm with the Akula to hack terminals. The alarms can force a shootout. I say alarms. Alarms. In the finale, the crew assaults a secret IAA base under the satellite array, fighting through mercenaries and rogue hackers floor by floor before reaching the war room. There, they take control of missile turrets to destroy incoming enemies and secure the stolen data. Now the payout for hard is $609,375. A pretty good payout for the first heist, with nowhere to go but up. Now, this one, to me, this is probably a B tier heist. I put this above the Fleeca Job. Just because it stands out, I really enjoy the mission, and just the mission design in this, it's just a really creative way. I really do have a soft spot for the Doomsday heist, 100%. Alright, next, everybody's favorite Doomsday heist, the Bogdan problem. This begins with free mode prep missions that gather critical information for stealing noose, ride control vans for keycards, information for rescuing UOP from the dealers, hijacking Stromberg trucks, recovering Storm torpedo ECUs. These setups advance the heist with the crew infiltrating LSI hangars to steal the Avenger, splitting into ground and lookout teams to rescue ULP from a foundry under heavy fire, using the RCV to extinguish fires and recover hard drives, my least favorite, and deploying Stormers to destroy a resupply convoy and scan the enemy submarine for intel. Each step combines combat, stealth, and vehicle-based action, preparing the crew for a finale. After gathering the data and vehicles, the crew splits up. Air support defends the skies with the Avenger, while the submarine team infiltrates the vessel in the Stromberg. Inside, they fight agents, find Bogdan in the brig, and he talks. He claims they are being used by Avon and that he's quote-unquote fighting for humanity. The crew plugs Clifford into the console, triggering Avon's betrayal and the sub's self-destruction. The team escapes. Air support extracts them. Together they battle mercenaries, Valkyries, and buzzards before fleeing to Devin Weston's hangar. There, Lester vents over Avon's betrayal, while Agent 14 and Agent Rackman warn of a greater threat, thus closing out the heist. The payout on hard mode is $890,000 $625,000, a pretty good split. This to me is an S tier heist. Now, why? It's probably a bias to me, but I made more money on this heist in GTA Online than any other heist. And I always enjoy this heist, even though I've played it like 100 times. I love this heist. It's just a turning point in the Doomsday story, and it's just, I don't know, I really have a soft spot for this because I made quite a bit of money on this. Last one, the Doomsday scenario. These preps, you steal marked cash, photograph the Pacific Allied shipyard, hijack a Chernobog missile truck, tail an arms dealer for a barrage ATV intel, recover a laptop for the Conjali tank, shoot down a prototype Hydra and get its onboard computer. The setups use the gear. You rescue Agent 14 from the shipyard while fighting Shoulders and Juggernauts. Juggernauts. Escorting ULP and the Chernobog against helicopters. Seize the barrage ATV and assault Sandy Shore airfield. Clear the scrapyard and deploy the Conjali tank. And destroy SAM turrets around Mount Chiliad with a volatile bomber. Each mission tests firepower, vehicles, and teamwork in preparation for the finale. The crew either picks up the ATV or the Conjali tank at the finale in Grapeseed. They then drive to Mount Chiliad's tunnel, where Lester hacks the entrance, letting the crew into Avon's little bunker, where they fight his forces. Clear Juggernauts and destroy 5 supply boxes. At the blast doors, Lester tricks Clifford into opening them. A funny scene ensues. Inside, the team attacks 4 consoles to stop the launch, defending the hacker through endless enemies. Afterward, they destroy 4 mobile cloud servers to disable Avon's AI and then chase Avon through the tunnels. Avon then escapes in the thruster, prompting a high-speed aerial pursuit in buzzards and akulas. The crew then defeats Avon and regroups at the Galileo Observatory. In the aftermath, Miss Rackman and Lester reward them, who celebrate their success. In the payout, this is probably the highest paying payout so far. On hard, the payout after the split is $1,125,000. And so this one, me personally, I'm going to rank this C tier, probably a bit above Prison Break, just because this heist, even setting it up, was so freaking difficult. It's unreal. Like, just having, because, you get a good split for 2 people. But like the setups were really difficult, especially like the one where you had to escort ULP or just meeting the Juggernauts with the miniguns. That's holy shit. And just the constant wave of enemies in the second part of the Doomsday scenario just made this mission a slog to do. But it's still memorable. I mean, Avon's Fortress, like, wow. I just love the 1960s nuclear war vibe I get from it. Easily one of the best layouts in GTA Online. 100%. Alright, next, the Diamond Casino Heist. This is started at the arcade planning board, where we have to scope out the casino by photographing guards, cameras, keypads, doors, and hidden entrances. And then we hack the vault to identify the target that we are going to be robbing. We then have to choose an approach, silent and sneaky, the big con, or aggressive, and complete the necessary setup missions, such as acquiring tunnel access, group sex disguises, and heavy weaponry and getaway vehicles. Now there are 3 approaches to this heist. Silent and sneaky, which prioritizes stealth, requiring a crew to avoid cameras, guards, and alarms reach the vault undetected. Success relies on careful movement, timing, and minimizing noise. The Big Con, my personal favorite, uses disguise, roles, and casual behavior to blend in with casino staff and guests, allowing the crew to bypass security checkpoints and sometimes reach the vault without raising suspicion, such as the group sex way to do it. That's the way I do it every single time. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And then there's the aggressive way. I actually really love doing this one too. A direct, combat-heavy approach focusing on overpowering security with weapons and firepower. While force is the main tool, strategic stealth and planning can still improve efficiency and reduce risk. Now the payout differs. If you get everything looted from the vault with each item, such as cash, the max take with cash is $2,326,500. With artwork's probably the easiest to take because there's maybe like 3 or 4. You just gotta cut them. It's not that hard, especially when you have a lot of time. $2,585,000. Then there's gold. Gold's probably the hardest to get just because there's so much, and I think it weighs you down a little bit. Where you make $2,843,500. And then there's diamonds. These are usually special events where you get $3,619,000. Now, I might be a little biased on this, but I rank this heist a little bit above the Bogdan problem at S tier. I really do enjoy this heist. I had a feeling it was coming when the Diamond Casino DLC dropped earlier that year, and bringing back Lester and setting him off was well done, and the heist is just fun and creative to do with friends or even just randoms. It's a fun time altogether. Alright, next, you all know it, the Cayo Perico heist. The Cayo Perico heist is in phases. You first scope out the island. You go to Cayo Perico, you locate the main target, find secondary loot and entry points. You have to do this every single time. It's not like the casino heist where it's kind of there. You have to go back every single time. You then hack a communication tower to access El Rubio's basement treasures and photograph potential loot spots and find what he has in his vault. And then phase 2, the preparations, where you complete free mode prep missions, which really aren't a lot, where you choose infiltration vehicles like the Longfin or the Spare, or even the Kasaka itself. Select mandatory gear like plasma cutter or safe codes, and optional tools like the cutting torch. That's definitely needed. Optional disruption missions like disabling guards' body armor give advantages in the final if you're just going to do guns blazing. I try not to do that, but sometimes you have to. And then the heist finale. You infiltrate the compound using your chosen route, either the drainage tunnel, the main dock, airfield, whatever you want. Navigate security, secure the primary target and any secondary loot, then escape using your planned exit strategy. Now the payout, hard mode isn't really available, so I usually play on normal mode. And the payouts that I usually get for the certain item looted from the vault, like the Cincimito, if I'm saying that right, tequila, that's $630,000. The ruby necklace, that's $700,000. The bearer bond, $770,000. Then there's a pink diamond, which is pretty rare, $1.3 million. The panther statue, which is an event only type thing, $1.9 million. These, it really depends. If you're doing it back to back, you're gonna get the tequila. But if you're gonna do it maybe once in a while, there's more of a chance you're gonna get the pink diamond. And if you're doing it during an event week, you're most likely gonna get that panther statue. And now you guys are probably gonna give me shit about this, but me, I'm gonna rank this at tier A. I'm gonna put this above the Bureau raid. I really do enjoy this heist. This heist is brilliantly laid out. The payouts are really good for a solo heist, but not S, just because for some reason it seems to lack a certain charm that the previous heists like the Doomsday heist, Series A funding, Fleeca heist, or even the Diamond Casino heist had. I just can't, and it's not Lester, but I just can't quite put my finger on it what it is. But just something feels different when it comes to this heist. I remember when I first played it, I was like, this does not feel like a regular GTA heist. Maybe it's just because we got a whole island. I don't know. I still enjoyed it. Like I say, it's an A tier for a reason. Something about it I wasn't a huge fan of. I don't know what it is. Alright, last, the Cluckin Bell Farm Raid. This is a different kind of heist. A free heist that's like a contact mission in a way. Now the setup missions, there are 5 setup or prep missions, where you steal launder money to fund a heist, gather intel via a laptop and hacking device, acquire weapons and gear from gangs or militias, steal a freight train for factory entry, and secure a getaway vehicle. In the finale, you infiltrate the Cluckin Bell factory using the freight train to raid the facility with the intel and hacking device, and your escape can go either way. It can be stealthy where you avoid guards and cameras, the way I usually do it, or loud using guns and explosive where you fight your way out. It really depends on your preferred approach. The payout, $500,000. I understand this is more geared towards newer players, but with the heist being somewhat of a contact mission, it pays pretty well. Now, me personally, I will rank this one at like C tier. I'll probably put it above the Humane Labs. I think this is a pretty well done heist. It's not super memorable, but it's a decent heist with a decent take. It's a perfect heist for like a new GTA Online player to really just jump into. I wish I had that when I was first starting. Alright guys, that is my official tier list. If you disagree with anything, if you have like why is that there, leave it in the comments below. I would love to debate with you guys and just kind of see where your guys' head is at when it comes to GTA Heist. I think my list is pretty solid, but if it's not, let me know in the comments. And before I really do my full outro, I just want to say thank you guys. 75 subscribers and growing. You guys are tuning into my videos, and I can't thank you guys enough. You guys really make this channel flourish, and I hope you guys enjoy the future videos I put out. And if you want to see anything, lore video, fearless video, game you want me to play, TV show you want me to review, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear you guys' suggestions. So anyways guys, before I leave, I want you guys to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. It really helps the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care now. Bye.